गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। ॐ योऽन्तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्ताम् सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्नाम् अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्. We are in Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 11 and we are looking at the significance of the Lord's own limbs, attendants and weapons, and a description of the retinue of the sun god changing every month in the course of a solar year. And last week, when this question was asked by the Shaunakadi Rishi, Suji replied. First he revered all the sages who were sitting in front of him, who were greater than him in knowledge, etc., more renowned than he was. Yet they were sitting at his feet because he was good at what he was doing. And what is that? He is a storyteller. And he is telling the stories. And they are eagerly soaking it all up. But when requested in this manner, he doesn't forget. Just because all these rishis are sitting at his feet, he doesn't get pumped up with arrogance. He begins by saying, Namaskritya Gurun Vakshe Vibhutir Vaishnaviraphi Ya Prokta Veda Tantrabhyam Acharyai Padmajadibihi. He says, bowing to the feet of my preceptors, I shall speak to you all about the glorious manifestations of the Lord, which are difficult for the mind to comprehend. We won't say man to comprehend, mind to comprehend. But this was what was discussed by Brahmaji, who is the creator, and that he tells. And towards the end, and as we went through that, we saw the various faculties of the Lord are nothing but aspects of the creation. And we saw that, what was it? He told that the cosmic egg is made up of the 9 fundamental principles, which were Maya and 8 others. What are the 8 others? They are the Mahat Tattva, or the principle of cosmic intelligence, Sutra, or the active aspect of Mahat Tattva, Ahankara, or the cosmic ego, and the 5 Tanmatras, and or subtle elements. Subtle elements of what? Subtle elements of space, air, fire, water, earth, which have not grossified yet, as well as of the 16 vikaras or modifications that example, the mind, the 10 indriyas, that means jnanendriyas, uh, sorry, jnanendriyas and karmendriyas, plus jnanendriyas are seeing, hearing, touching, feeling, tasting, and karmendriyas are speech, hands, legs, uh, anus and genitals. So these are the 10 indriyas. And then he said what? And the 5 gross elements. And 5 gross elements are space, air, fire, water and earth. All these constitutes the cosmic egg. And then as a this as a matter of then what did he say? Then he said 5 gross elements. In that cosmic form, as presided over by the spirit, appears the 3 worlds, the heaven, earth and the intervening space. This as a matter of fact constitutes the Purusha, the cosmic form of the Lord. The cosmic form, the Virat Purusha, is the cosmic form. And that is cosmic, that is the cosmic form of the Lord, the earth. And in that cosmic form, now he goes on to explain, which we told, that even at our level, when we do pujas etc., we should, when we do puja etc., we should, or the panditji or the priest, they do the self body purification. And there it was told that the earth represents his feet, the heaven his head, the mid-air region his navel, the sun his eyes, the air his nostrils, the quarters his ears, Prajapati, the god presiding over the creation, his generative organ, death constitutes the Lord's anus, the guardians of the spheres, his arms, the moon, his mind, and Yama, the god of retribution, his eyebrows, Lajja, the goddess presiding over modesty, his upper lip, and Lobha, the greed, his lower lip, moonlight, the brightness of his teeth, Maya, the deluding potency, his smile, the trees, the hair on his body of the infinite Lord, and clouds, the locks on the head of the Supreme Person. And in this way, Sutji Maharaj explains, says that this is what we heard. Measured with reference to the disposition of the various spheres, the said cosmic person to actually bears the same proportion as the mortal man does when measured with reference to the disposition of his own limbs. So, just as the gold in a limited conditioned ornament, say a necklace or a ring, and the infinite gold is the same. Similarly, the individual space of this house and the total space of this country or this earth is the same. Similarly, the cosmic person and the individual person are essentially the same. Then why, while speaking, why are we creating the difference? The difference is on account of the conditionings. Foolishly, we have accepted ourselves to be only this body, breath, mind, intellect. And the cosmic person, he says the infinite is my body. See? All I am expressing through all eyes, I am expressing through all, just as we saw before. And he is just as space, last week we were explaining, just as space is one, but expressing on different planets, but it's the same space. It's on the earth. The infinite space alone is the space of the earth, in which the earth is. Huh? And that space, again, man has divided. This is Australian space, you cannot enter into Australian space. This is Indonesian, you cannot enter. This is Indian, you cannot enter. This is US, you cannot enter. This is Chinese, you cannot enter. They have created the boundaries, but space is boundaryless. We have created directions, north, south, east, west, etc., with reference to the sun. But from space's point of view, there are no directions. Similarly, here, when it is told, just as take this example of the space. Similarly, that cosmic person, I'm not talking about his body, I'm talking about the person inside. Are you the body, or are you the spark of life which is expressing through this body, which is missing when death happens? You can see the body, you can see the limbs, you can see the senses, but nothing is functioning. Why it's not functioning? Something is missing in that dead body. What is that which is missing in the dead body? That is the spirit. Is that spirit one per body, or is that one spirit expressing through all the bodies? Just like it is one water expressing through all the waves and all the oceans, one gold expressing through all the ornaments, one space expressing through all the planets or solar systems or galaxies. Exactly the same way. It is one conscious principle, one supreme person, that one Purushottama, who alone is expressing through all the beings. And that is your and my reality. But we are so stuck up in considering ourselves to be this body and everything connected to this body, and then wanting to secure this body, wanting to get better things for this body, good bed, good pillow, good sofa, good car, good cushion, good chair, good food, good travel first class. Nothing wrong with it, but to be dependent on it and considering that I am only this body, it leads to lot of unwanted consequences. And a child is born, naturally the child is born, he doesn't have a sense of I, he doesn't say I am this body. We train that child. See, we brainwash that child. And as we grow up and start coming to satsang, and then we are brainwashed again. Everything that we have programmed ourselves, now we have to deprogram. Hey, stupid, why did you program yourself then? Nobody told us. but that, as I told last week also, but that was our system. That in childhood itself, they used to program the minds of the children in the correct manner. There was no physics, chemistry, mathematics in schools, and only certain children were allowed to be exposed to the Shastras. What did the other do? What did the cobbler do? What did the weaver do? What did the farmer do? What did the Shudra do? What did the cleaner do? They remembered all the stories of Ramayana, Mahabharata, all the God stories that have come here, all the great kings' stories. That is the beauty of Sanatana Dharma. And if you remember those stories, that knowledge, without you wanting it, it has gone inside you. And automatically, those people, they didn't live for money. Then what did they live for? They lived for happiness, express happiness. And that happiness can express when you are living your life correctly. They were clearly taught. The stories teach you, the Shastras teach you, the scriptures teach you. The first step in yoga is don't tell lies, don't accumulate too many things, tell the truth, practice brahmacharya, practice cleanliness. There are 10 things like this, 10 points given there. Then you become qualified to perform asana. But people practice all manipulation and corruption and desires, and then open yoga schools and yoga studios. What can they teach or what can they learn if by going there, if you're not practicing the first step itself? And here is that first step. What is that first step? In the 9th verse, Yava nayam vai purushaha yavatya sansthayamitah tavan asavapi maha purusho loka sanstaya. Here he says, that which is in the macrocosm alone is in the microcosm. That which is in the ocean alone is in the water. Alone in the wave. Wave is limited conditioning. Teeny mini wave. Ocean, big conditioning. Virat Purusha, no conditioning. Cosmic. What are his boundaries? No boundaries. See? But what is the material? So you say this is Indian Ocean, this is Tasman Sea, this is Pacific Ocean. But what is the common in all the oceans? Water. Is that water not common in every wave on every ocean? Yes. So our attention must go here, even though this story is being given, that what are the various limbs and accompaniments of the Lord, but our attention must go to the common principle, that Lord alone is functioning here. Then we have got no excuse to complain. Lord never complains. Lord is always blissful. We should always be blissful. Lord never wants anything. He has got no desire. But if someone comes, he gives. He will give himself if that devotee comes with faith and devotion. So we must also be of that disposition that if anyone comes with love, with Hindi में बोलते हैं अपनेपन से, we must be ready to serve and give. But we are the takers of society. What is in it for me? And as long as you keep thinking I am this body, you will be forced to think, because that is how it expresses what is in it for me. I have got an individual right. What is the government doing for me? Then I will do something for the country. Not like this. Our attention, our scriptures, they bring our attention to the infinity, which is which is our nature. Our nature is not the body. Our nature is not the senses. Our nature is not the mind, intellect, memory, ego. These are functional principles. Our nature is of the nature of infinite consciousness. So that which is in macro or totality, that alone is in micro individuality. This is how Vivek Chudamani, if you remember, some of you have been attending, there it was told that the 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 individual body is called Vishwa, total body is called Virat, individual mind is called Tejasa, total mind is called Hiranyagarbha or Brahmaji. Individual, what do you call? What I'm saying? We are talking about waking, dream, and deep sleep state, right? So, in the waking, individual body, total body is called Virat. Dream, dream is only in the mind. So, in the dream, you have got a dream body. What is that total dream body? That is called Brahmaji. He is also dreamer. He is also dreaming. What is he dreaming? He is dreaming the whole creation. How is he dreaming? As an offering to his boss. And last week I told you that according to our scriptures, waking and dream, both are dreams alone. So when you are dreaming, you are actually experiencing the dream in the dream as a waking experience. But when you wake up, then you say, "Arey, that was a dream." Similarly, in the waking, what we are going on right now, it is seeming to be real. But once we wake up from this state, suddenly we realize, "Arey, this was also a dream." And then in deep sleep, the consciousness in the deep sleep is called Pragya, and at the total level it is called Ishvara. So Vishwa, Taijasa, Pragya, individual level, and total level Virat, Hiranyagarbha or Brahmaji, and Ishvara. Parallel, macro, micro. Macro is Ishwar, Brahmaji, and Virat, and micro is Prajna, Taijasa, and Vishwa. See? Macro and micro. That point is being told here. But what is the common denominator which is expressing through both? On that our attention should be, and that is our Narayan Bhagavan, that is our Brahman, that is our Paramatma, and that we are. Don't imagine yourself to be this body. You are doing disservice to yourself. Now continuing, they are going on to the Sudji Maharaj is going on to the ornaments now. Let's read from verse 10 to verse 17. कौस्तुभव्यपदेशेन स्वात्मज्योतिर्विभर्त्यजः तत्प्रभाव्यापिनी साक्षात् श्रीवत्समुरसा विभुः स्वमायां वनमालाख्यां नानागुणमयीं दधत वासश्छन्दोमयं पीतं ब्रह्मसूत्रं त्रिवृत्स्वरं बिभर्ति सांख्यं योगं च देवो मकरकुण्डले मौलिं पदं पारमेष्ठ्यं सर्वलोकाभयङ्करम् अव्याकृतमनन्ताख्यम् आसनं यदधिष्ठितः धर्मज्ञानादिभिर्युक्तं सत्वं पद्ममिहोच्यते ओजस्सहो बलयुतं मुख्यतत्त्वं गदां दधत् अपां तत्त्वं दरवरं तेजस्तत्त्वं सुदर्शनं नभो निभं नभस्तत्त्वम् असिं चर्मतमोमयं कालरूपं धनुषार्ङ्गं तथा कर्ममयेषु धिम् इन्द्रियाणि शरानाहुः आकूतीरस्य स्यन्दनं तन्मात्राण्यस्याभिव्यक्तिं मुद्रयार्थक्रियात्मताम् मण्डलं देवयजनं दीक्षा संस्कार आत्मनः परिचर्या भगवत आत्मनो दुरितक्षयः. कौस्तुभव्यपदेशेन स्वात्मज्योतिर्विभर्त्यजः तत्प्रभाप्यापिनी साक्षात् श्रीवत्समुरसा विभुः. The birthless Lord carries on his person the pure consciousness of the jiva, his own particle in the form of the Kaustubha gem, and it is the diffusive splendor of the latter which the Lord actually wears on his right breast as the mark of the Srivatsa. So what is the Kaustubha gem? The Kaustubha gem is the jiva, consciousness of the jiva. Which jiva? The corrupted one. Is it the one who you think you are, or the one I think I am? Who I think myself to be? Sannyasi, son of my mother, born on this particular date. What do you think? I am the wife of this, I am the husband of this, I am the mother of this, I am the father of this, I have got so many years to live. Time is coming close. Are we talking about that one? No. We are talking about that one which is pure, which is innocent, like a small child. Is there any ego in that small child? No. It gets developed slowly. It has ego, no doubt it has, but it's a functional ego. The ahankar principle is there in a child. But the way ego has developed in us, this is mine, this is not yours. I like what you have, I want it, I can't let you have it. That is dangerous one. So the Ishvara Srishti, the creation of the Ishvara, it ends where? It ends by his Maya. Remember, he created the cosmic person, and in that cosmic person there is life expressing, no? In that cosmic person the life is expressing. What is that life? That life is expressing, whose life is it? That infinite Lord or the Brahman alone is expressing in that total form. And that consciousness, when he comes, because see, remember one thing, Ishvara, what is his potentiality? What is his power? His power is Maya. His power is Prakriti. What is our power? Mind. So we are conscious principle. What is our power? What is our potentiality? The mind. What did he do with his potentiality? What is the nature of his potentiality? We saw in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th verse above, that in that Maya, its nature is manifestation and unmanifestation, and when it starts manifesting, what is the first thing that happens? Hiranyagarbha is created. In that Hiranyagarbha, all the possibilities are there. In that Hiranyagarbha, all the possibilities are there. The entire, and in just like in the baby in the womb, the baby in the womb, when the zygote is created, can you see the hands, legs, eyes, nose, spine? Nothing you can see. It's only two cells have come together, the egg and the sperm. and life begins. And as it is beginning, what is the possibility? The possibility of all the zillions of cells that are going to come, all the arms, legs, eyes, you can't see in that first joining together, you can't see it. It's very slow, or it's very fast, but for us it is very slow. It takes 9 months. But one cell becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8, 8 becomes 16, and it keeps multiplying, multiplying, multiplying. See? But in that initial contact, and when it starts multiplying, the possibility of the end, when you were in your mother's womb and conceived, everything that you are experiencing today or till ad infinitum, all that possibility was already present when you were conceived. But was it available? Could you see it under the microscope? Did you know it? No. Exactly the same way in the Hiranyagarbha. That is what? The divine conception. And the moment Ishvara and Prakriti, or Ishvara and Maya, they come together, Maya cannot help but manifest. And when she manifests, that was what was told, and within that Hiranyagarbha, in that the five elements, that is space, air, fire, water, earth, their 5 subtle elements, and the 10 indriyas, everything was available, but it has not become manifest yet. When it becomes manifest, then what happens? Then Brahma, the moment Brahmaji come, at same time Vishnu and Shivji also come. You cannot have only the creator and no maintainer and destroyer. They don't come one by one, simultaneously. Yes, they seem to come one after the other. Just like waking happens. While you are waking, dream is not there. You think that way. You are thinking that way. Because your attention is, right now I am in the waking world. When I go to sleep, maybe I will dream. If I dream, that is the dream world. And when there is no dream, then I am in the sleep world. If you inquire a little bit, you will find all the 3, waking, dream and deep sleep, sattva, rajas, tamas, they are happening right here and now. Only thing is, you do not have the you don't have the ability to recognize it yet, because your attention is so gross, because you are so identified with the body. You only think what you see, hear, touch, feel, taste, that is your experience and that is real. What about Mahatmas, who can tell you about your past, who can tell you about your future, who can touch and heal you, who are clairvoyant, who are clairaudient? What have they done? They have gone beyond this body identification. They have not reached the ultimate, but along the way, sometimes for some people these abilities come. But our fixation is we are only this body, and therefore our experience is also limited to the body alone. So when we see that for that Ishvara and Prakriti, for that Ishvara and Maya, when that waker, dreamer, total dreamer, total sleeper, okay? Total waker, total dreamer, total sleeper. Before they come about, before they manifest themselves. Is there life in the womb? Is there life in the Hiranyagarbha? Yes. What is the name? What is that life? That life is the Kaustubha gem. So I was telling you, from Ishvara Srishti point of view, the creation of Ishvara, Ishvara's creation concludes by manifesting life through the total body, the cosmic person. Acha, that's all happens. Then what happens after that? In that cosmic person now, then individuality is imagined. Why do you say it is imagined? Because it will benefit us if we think it that way. Scriptures tell that way. Because our goal is not to establish individuality, our goal is to establish that in place of this individuality, it is nothing but the infinity, nothing but the divinity. That is our goal, that is our purpose. We are not here to prove and concretize the individuality. And if you want to use the individuality as a total principle is correct. Individuality as a total principle. So what is total principle? Imagine. I have given this example before somewhere in one of the chapters here, but we'll repeat it. It's important so you understand what Kaustubha means. In you, different, so many zillions of cells are there, different organs are there. Someone is heart pumping blood, someone is lungs are breathing, stomach is doing its job, pancreas is doing its job. It's a collective whole. Each part syncing with each other, coexisting with each other and functioning. But each one's job is unique. What the heart does, liver doesn't do. What the liver does, pancreas don't do. What the pancreas do, leg don't do. What leg does, the nose doesn't do. What the nose does, eyes don't do. Everyone is different. But a collective whole is this body. And if imagine, what did we see before? The eyes is the sun, the feet is the earth, the anus is the god of death, the generative organ is the Brahmaji, the hands is the Indra, etc., etc. Now, if all of them fight that I am more superior, I am the boss, without me nothing can happen, this, that, blah, 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 blah. And last week I gave you the story of Kena Upanishad. I am not going to go into that. See? So how foolish is it? You know that all these fellows are inseparable. Through every cell in this body, every organ in this body, every faculty of this body, there's only one expressing, isn't it? You. You don't say liver consciousness, you don't say pancreas consciousness, you don't say leg consciousness, you don't say seeing consciousness, thinking consciousness, breathing consciousness, listening consciousness. Do you say that? Exactly the same way. As foolish that sounds, for that Virat Purush, that principle where consciousness is expressing through total conditionings, in that totality, we are like those cells who are here, so, I am someone, I am somebody, I am a sannyasi, I am a rich man, I am not poor, I am a self-made man, I came from India, came from Fiji, I came from here, I am in this profession and I am good at it, and I handle 10, 15, 20 people, and I am the boss and they have to listen to me, and I can hire or fire. I got this siddhi, I got that siddhi. How foolish! Pancreas, the stomach's siddhi is to produce hydrochloric acid. Can any other organ in the body produce hydrochloric acid? Not possible. Then pancreas says, hey, I produce insulin. Can anybody else produce insulin? Nobody can produce insulin. Only you see? This, imagine now you are one of those who is saying, I am this, I am that. Foolishness. So Ishvara's creation concludes with expression of that infinite consciousness through total conditioning by way of Maya. And individual creation begins with the appearance of Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. God, Virat Purush, that cosmic person, that Ishvara, or beyond that Ishvara, he doesn't have mind, intellect, memory and ego. He doesn't have that. See? He doesn't have. So, where does the individual creation begin? Individual creation begins with the appearance of mind, intellect, memory and ego. Why does mind, intellect, memory and ego come? Because of our consciousness that I am identifies that I am only this body. That very moment, mind, intellect, memory and ego begins and the journey begins. Till you come to a satsang like this and you are told you have to give up your mind, intellect, memory and ego, you have to dissolve them, you have to melt them and recognize that you are essentially infinite. Why did I go through this whole journey? You didn't. You didn't go through the journey. Consciousness does not go through journey. The equipment goes through the journey. The body goes through the journey of birth, growth, disease, decay and death. The mind and intellect are going through the journey, waking, dream, deep sleep, and ego also. But you are not that. You are the life. You are the conscious principle. And that conscious principle, which is the eternal witness, which is unaffected, just like you are unaffected. If you disidentify from the body, you are unaffected with what, if whether body is hungry or overfed. You are unconcerned whether body is waking, dreaming or sleeping. You are unconcerned whether stomach is functioning properly or pancreas is functioning properly or the various functions are happening properly. You don't care because you are not the body. But if you are the body, then little bit touch here and one cough. Swamiji, are you? Should I get water? Are you not okay? What happened? And immediately you are coughing. Okay, second cough. Oh, should I call a doctor? Third cough. I think you got COVID. You see? So so all these faculties, the journey is for the faculty. Journey is for the ego. Who are you? Are you the ego? Then there is no place for the ego anywhere in the Lord, because ego is a ghost. It is existing in its own absence. A good example of an ego is husband or a wife. There is a man and a woman. There is nothing called husband and wife. They are egos. Meaning you have imagined yourself to be husband or wife, but where is husband? Only an imagination existing in its own absence. Same way is this ego also. Then where is the consciousness? Consciousness is the one who is unaffected, uninfluenced at any given moment by the body or the mind. When I ask you this question, which we have asked many times, do you know yesterday you were waker, dreamer, and sleeper? You went through that experience? You say yes. Who is that person? That person cannot be the waker, because waker cannot go into dream, waker cannot go into sleep. If he goes there, he cannot know. So there must be someone who is noticing, who is watching, who is witnessing, who is knowing that waking experience is coming and going, dream experience is coming and going, deep sleep experience is coming and going. That one we are talking about. That one we are talking about, the eternal witness. If you take it at the level of creation, when the total Virat Purush, that person who is unaffected, the consciousness, which consciousness? Ishvara, the consciousness. The Maya cannot function without Ishvara. So when Maya starts expressing, when she expresses as Rajas, that Ishvara, that part of Ishvara has, see, I am this hand, it began as what? It began as one, but as it comes here, it becomes five. That same hand, it's all called a hand, but within that hand, this is a thumb, this is an index finger, this is a middle finger, ring finger, small finger. You have given it names. Body is one, but within that you have given different names. Day is one, but you call it a Brahma Muhurt, afternoon time, late afternoon time, and evening time, and night time. Different names you have given, but day is one. Similarly, Ishvara is one, but when he expresses through Maya, which expresses as three, when Rajas, he is called Brahmaji. That Ishvara, when it expresses as Sattva, he is called as Vishnu, total. When it expresses as the Tamas, with reference to Tamas, he is called as Shiva. But it is one Ishvara alone who is taking these three. See? But this point where we are coming, when we are talking about Virat Purusha is even before these three fellows. They have not manifested yet. So the principle of the phenomena, if I want to call it, if you want to say that, the phenomena of consciousness expressing through the Prakriti is a natural phenomena. And in that natural phenomena, that consciousness which is expressing through that total body is the Kaustubha gem. That consciousness is called as Kaustubha gem, which the Lord Narayana, here we are equating Lord Narayana to Ishvara. Ishvara wears it on his chest. It is bright. Are you bright? You are dull when you go to sleep. Or maybe you are feeling, as I am going through this, explaining all this, oh man, what satsang is this? It's too much. You're good at what you do, but are we able to grasp this? If you are able to grasp, fantastic. If you are not able to grasp, purify. Purify what? Purify your mind. What will happen? I am not the body. This experience will come about as a result of purification. Then whatever is said is grasped effortlessly. If it is not grasping, if you are not grasping it, then too much body identification. Too much body identification equal to big ego. I'm not, we were all like that, don't worry. But wherever we are, we must know, because nobody has told us what is our ultimate purpose in life. So in this one word, Kaustuba gem, when he says, I wear it on my chest, that Kaustuba represents the Jiva. Jiva is the total principle, manifestation of consciousness through total form, total conditionings, not even form, total conditionings. Then the birthly Lord carries on his person the pure consciousness of the Jiva, his own particle. What is that? It is his own particle. So Ishvara alone, the particle of Ishvara alone is expressing through Brahmaji. Ishvara alone is expressing through Vishnu. Ishvara alone is expressing through Shiv. Ishvara alone is expressing through Indra. Ishvara alone is expressing through sun, moon, fire, air, water, earth, everything. Because Ishvara is everything. Then what are these different names? Oh, they are on account of the conditionings. Conditionings are from the Maya. Maya is manifesting. Her job is manifest, unmanifest, manifest, unmanifest. In the form of Kaustuba gem, and it is the diffusive splendor of the latter which the Lord actually wears on his right breast as the mark of Srivatsa. Srivatsa is a hair. Lord's body is of the dark hue color, and on his chest you can see the 3.5 curls of one hair, and that is the splendor, that is the shine, that is the Maya Shakti, that is the is the diffusive splendor of the latter which the Lord actually wears on his right breast as the mark of Srivatsa. Okay, that is not the Maya, that is the Srivatsa. So Srivatsa is the effulgence of the Kaustubh which is appearing on the chest of the Lord. Then next one in the 11th verse, Swamayam vanamalakyam nana gunamahim dadhat vasaschandomayam pitam brahmasutram trivrutswaram. Carrying on his person his own Maya, consisting of the various gunas or modes of Prakriti in the form of Vanamala, a garland of silver flowers, a golden piece of linen consisting of the Vedas. So that, what is the golden piece of linen? That must be the Pitambar, consisting of the Vedas. So one mala is the Maya, and the golden piece is the Pitambar, which is consisting of the Vedas about his loins, and the sacred syllable Om, consisting of 3 parts A, U and Ma, in the triple sacred thread. So he is wearing a Janayu. Janayu is the sacred thread. How many threads are there in it? 3 or 6? 3. Why? Brahmachari must be wearing 3. Married people should wear 6. So 6 are for, 3 are for the wife, 3 are yours. But the Lord, is he a brahmachari or is he married? You will say, oh, he is married. He has his wife Lakshmi with him. And so also other gods. Krishna was brahmachari or was he married? Should he be wearing a 6 thread or he should be wearing a 3 thread? From that angle I am taking. He was married to 16,108 wives. But he was, in spite of, and with every one of them he had 7 children or 10 children, something like that. But he was a brahmachari through and through. See? Meaning, no desire. You watch. Did he ask any of his wives? Did he desire any of his wives? Or the wives desired him and he fulfilled their wishes? He never desired anything. Where there is no desire, that is brahmacharya. So, he is wearing the 3 threads, the triple sacred thread. The Lord wears the philosophical system of Sankhya and Yoga as a pair of alligator-shaped earrings, and the realm of Brahma, the highest functionary of the universe. So, Purusha and Prakriti. Now when we come to Brahmaji, did Brahmaji create space, air, fire, water, earth? A scientist in a lab, did he create the various chemicals, or he takes the chemicals and he mixes and matches and says, oh, this is NaCl, this is this, this is that, gives the names to the compounds. But he didn't create. Similarly, Brahmaji did not create the 5 elements. Brahmaji did not create the 5 elements. Then what does he do? He is like that lab assistant who takes the space, air, fire, water, earth and mixes and matches and keeps creating unique samples. The first sample he created was Sanat Kumar. Second sample he created was Narad Muni. Third sample, Manu Shatarupa. Then the 7 rishis. But he did not create the space, air, fire, water and earth, gross or subtle. So here it is told that the Lord wears the philosophical system of Sankhya and Yoga. Why Sankhya and Yoga? Sankhya and Yoga, both of them consider consciousness and matter to be separate. Sankhya philosophy was given by Kapil Muni and Yoga philosophy by Patanjali. But the basis of both of them is the Sankhya philosophy, and the basis of the Sankhya philosophy is consciousness is separate from matter. And and it goes on further, and that there is one consciousness per body. That also continues. Or if you take it at totality, that consciousness and matter are the two, the union of which has brought about the creation. From Vedanta philosophy, we refute that. We go beyond it. that is not the point here, topic here, so I'm not going to go into that. Don't worry. So there, the Lord is wearing two Makara Kundala. Huh? The Lord wears the alligator shaped Makara Kundala is the alligator earrings. One is the Sankhya philosophy, the other is the Yoga philosophy. Both of them considering consciousness as separate to matter. And the realm of Brahma, the highest functionary of this universe, promising fearlessness to all its inhabitants as his diadem. Diadem is the crown, Old English, and that just like when if you go to South India, from any house you look, you can see the Gopuram of the temple. If you can't see Gopuram of the temple, on the temple you can see the three Kalashas. If you can't see the three Kalashas, at least you can see the Dhwaja, the flag on top of the temple. And if you see the temple, okay, I'm in the right place. See, that if you are coming from far away, the moment you see the flag which is very high, oh, I have come to my town. You recognize it. See? The moment you are driving here and there, suddenly you see, अरे Wolseley Avenue, I have come, अब तो अपनी गली में आ गए. You suddenly become fearless. I know everything. Here, how to hide, whom to call. So here he says that looking at that Brahmaji is the diadem or the crown, and it is resplendent, it is shining like anything. This was the 12th verse, promising fearlessness. Where there is pure consciousness, where there is the Lord, the Ishvara, we are talking about the total person here, in whom Brahmaji is only one part, Jiva is only one part. We are talking about the total. There can be no fearlessness. When we are identified with the body, there is only one thing. How do I survive? That ignorance of our own true nature expresses as fear. Wherever we establish differences, wherever we establish me versus you, there is fear from the other. Why is this person becoming so friendly with me? What does he want from me? This statement going on in you are not voicing it, it's going on in your mind. Fear. What does he want from me? Has he come to manipulate me? Has he come to trick me? Why is he becoming over friendly? I never known him. He's only an acquaintance. Why is suddenly so friendly and as if we are very, very good friends? This is all your mental dialogue going on. Fear. Fear of the unknown. And who are we? We are not other. That Ishvara alone is expressing as the consciousness here. So if he is fearless, we should be fearless. That's why Mahatmas are living fearlessly. They don't have fear of anything. Where they go, if you read some biographies, they go in the jungle, all the animals who are killing each other, enemies of each other, including of man, all of them become friendly and they follow the Mahatma. Sangdev Pasashti. When we did Sangdev Pasashti, the Sangdev Maharaj, 1400-year-old man, yogi. When you used to go, tigers, lions, leopards, elephants, deer, snakes, everything in this creation used to be his retinue. They used to follow him, including men, women, children. That type of power he had. What are we living? We have shrunk. We are infinite in nature, and we, by identifying that I am only this body, we have, from that infinity, I have shrunk myself into a teeny mini consciousness. And now I am afraid that other people, meaning other consciousness, are out to take me for a ride, are out to manipulate me, or out to kill me, or out to do something to me. And therefore we are running from here to there, want to become rich so that we can have all the gadgets. Like in America, they have all the guns to protect themselves. Protect themselves from what? Thank God, in Australia, good sense prevailed in the government and the citizens, where amnesty was given under John Howard, and everyone handed in their guns. Otherwise, this would have become another America. Because you don't know who's carrying the gun, who will shoot next. Fear, fear, fear. Today, you can walk around anywhere in the middle of the night also, no problem. So if we want to become free of fear as an individual who is expressing, then we have to do what Mahatmas did, realized masters have done. What have they done? They have realized that they are the infinite one. In infinite there is no fear. Even Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the maintainer, Shiva, the destroyer, they also have to end their game at the end of this 74 cycles of creation. When the Mahapralaya takes place, all of them go back, they become unmanifest. Who? Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Because their life is such a long one, so for us they are gods. उनका भी एक बाप है ऊपर. There is one father above them. Only he can give fearlessness. These three also are fearless. These three are also fearless because they are always in tune with the totality, the Ishvara. They are in tune with their essence. That's why they are meditating. We are out of tune with our essence. Therefore we are in fear. Therefore we are collecting, accumulating, surviving. Twelfth verse. बिभर्ति सांख्यम योगम च देवो मकर कुंडले मौलिम पदम पारमेष्ठ्यम सर्वलोका भयंकरम. We have seen this verse just now. Now अव्याकृतम अनंताख्यम आसनम यदधिष्ठितः धर्मज्ञानादिभिर्युक्तम सत्वम पद्ममिहोच्यते. In the 13th verse he says, the unmanifest primordial matter is the seat, couch, going by the name of Shesha, the serpent god. The unmanifest primordial matter. Primordial matter. That is the Shesha. That is where the Lord Narayana is lying down. Some places they call, in Vishnu Puran, that is called as time. I think so. But here we are doing Bhagavad Mahapuran and our focus is on Lord Narayana. What is the difference between Lord Narayana and Lord Vishnu? They are one and the same in essence, no doubt. Vishnu, Lord Vishnu, is the Adhishthan Devata of the waking state of consciousness, total. Just like Brahmaji is the total dream state, Vishnu is the total waking state, and Shivji is the total deep sleep state. And you can realize not through dream. When you are in dream, you cannot realize when you are sleeping. You can realize only when you are waking. So from individual consciousness we go to total consciousness. Total consciousness, Vishnu. From total consciousness, now Vishnu already knows he is not other than Narayan, so no problem. Shivji also knows that he is not other than Narayana or other than the Paramatma. But when can you meditate on Shivji? In deep sleep? Not possible. You have to do it in the waking. And therefore, because Vishnu Bhagavan is the Adhishthan Devata of the total waking consciousness, so Narayana, Vishnu and Jiva, that is those who are Shaivites, they will take Narayana, Shiva and Jiva. Those who follow Brahmaji, Narayana, Brahmaji and Jiva. Jiva means individual here, not the total individual, this individual. So, in Bhagavad, the unmanifest primordial matter is the seat, is the couch, is the bed on which the Lord Narayana, Ananta Shayana, that Ananta, where he is lying down, it goes by the name of Shesha, the serpent god, which he remains nestled in, and Sattva Guna, the principle of harmony and goodness, characterized by the 6 divine properties such as dharma and jnana, and I'll come to that. All the 6, we'll explain that. What are they? So here, where is our consciousness? Where is it hiding? It is plentifully available, but for you, where is it hiding? Where is it resting? If Lord Narayana is lying on the primordial matter, where are you lying? Find out. What is your basis? What is your foundation? Okay, you say, I am in the body. Forget it. Continue. Play kabaddi. Tu main. I like this, I like that. I don't like this, I don't like that. Continue. Birth after birth after birth after birth. But if you are sincere, you are a seeker, by God's grace, suddenly it has got this urgency, or this seeking has got ignited within you. Who am I? Am I this person? No, but my experience is different. I see my body, I know I got senses. The knower is other than the known. Well, then who am I then? They say it is the consciousness, but consciousness, how do I know the consciousness? They say mind cannot comprehend it, then how will I come to know? How will I be it? For an unprepared one, then this story is given, picture is given, ideas in this manner are given. Instead of self-contemplation, this is called step by step he is taken. Because he is so addicted to form, he is so addicted to his form that he can't think, imagine, can't accept, not imagine also, can't accept that He is the infinite, formless, pure consciousness. That He is the substratum on which the entire universe is coming and going. He is not able to suss it out. Then for such a person, what to do? Remember, this knowledge was given in the 20th chapter of the 11th canto. It was already given. But now we are coming down from there. For the person who, if he feels he is the body, then he want to look up to a person who is also having a body but more powerful than him. Who is that most powerful person? You say, oh Ram, oh you say Krishna. Oh, but there was someone who took the incarnation of Ram and Krishna and various avatars. Who is that? I want that one. I don't want those who come and go. I want that one. I want to know that one. That is Narayana. That Narayana took the 9 avatars till now. That Narayana, that Ishvara is sleeping on the bed of the primordial matter. And by nature, remember, as we said, oh, in the dream, I was a great king. I was doing yajnas and I was giving lectures and I was a meditator and I was building schools and building hospitals and I did so much good. And now I'm awake. And who are you? I'm a pickpocket. So, all the good deeds that you did in the dream, are they going to benefit you in the waking? Just like other dreams you discarded, same way this good dream also you will discard. So, where you have to practice? Consciously, conscientiously, in the waking. Where can you realize? In the waking. Where can you purify? In the waking. Where can you seek? In the waking. Where can you assess yourself, where you are and where you want to go? In the waking. Where do you have this faculty of choice available? In the deep sleep and in the dream? No, only in the waking. Only in the waking you know what is right and what is wrong. And you have the power to choose also. In dream it is happening by default. So what is the nature? Everyone, every human being, intrinsically, naturally, is good from within. Because Ishvara alone is expressing, so you have to be good. Circumstances, samskaras, circumstances for the body, samskaras for the mind, prarabdha for the ego, wrong concepts, wrong training of the programming of the intellect, all these lead to wrong decisions. But you are essentially good. Even a thief knows that. Even a killer knows that. So therefore, if you may not be behaving, the equipment may not be behaving because wrong programming. Intellect is also a program. Mind is also a program. Ego is also a program. But you are not a program. You are the one who knows that the waking mind comes and goes, dream mind comes and goes, and both are absent in the sleep. Who knows? You know it. That one, by nature, in essence, is of the nature of goodness. What does he say here? It is of the nature of harmony. It is the principle of harmony and goodness. And those human beings who have been able to separate themselves from the mind, intellect, memory, and ego, and this body. Body is only a concept of the mind. They are separated and come to know that they are the pure consciousness which is infinite in nature. Such people are called sadhu purusha. Even if you commit atrocities on them, they will forgive you. They don't want anything from the world. Their presence itself is auspicious. They don't want, how can they want? Their disposition is that of inclusivity. Everything is I only. So no differences, no sense of otherness. No sense of otherness, then no desire. See? Where did they get this nature from? It was the nature of the consciousness. Now for the person who is identified with the body, for him it is told, it is the Ishvara. And by nature, he is the principle of harmony and goodness. So, if we want to get out of this ego, what do we practice? You practice bringing harmony. You bring by your thought, word, and deed, you do goodness to others. Don't keep barking and assessing and judging and kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya, anger, greed, jealousy, envy, hypocrisy, and arrogance. No. Take people together. Bring people together. Don't create confusion. Don't create doubt in others. If you don't agree with someone, it's okay. Don't have to pick up a fight. These are tips, because it's that infinite one alone is expressing here. And we know that sadhu purushas, realized masters, by nature are like this, of the sattva guna. And sattva guna, that just like sunlight is not apart from the sun. You can see the sun there and you can see the sunlight on the earth. But you know this sunlight is not separate from the sun. It cannot have any other source but the sun. It is an inseparable part. Similarly, the principle of harmony and goodness, as he says here, is inseparable from the Lord, inseparable from that infinite being, who alone is expressing. Here also, recognize yourself to be that. For that you have to give up being this. The Sattva Guna, the principle of harmony and goodness, characterized by the 6 divine properties. Now this is the Bhaga. He is called Bhagavan. This Bhagavan, there are 6 Bhaga, 6 qualities by which are permanently inseparable from him. And what are they? 13th, na? धर्म ज्ञानादिभिर्युक्तम सत्वम पद्म मिहोच्यते. अच्छा, यहाँ पे दिया नहीं है, लेकिन here it is giving. What are they? The first is the dharma, the right, such as dharma, the righteousness, and jnana, wisdom. So it does not, he does not have to practice dharma. It is his nature. He doesn't have to practice a righteous, what you call, the second one is wisdom. He doesn't have to gain knowledge through scriptures. He is the giver of the scriptures. He is knowledge incarnate. The other four being Aishwarya or universal dominion. Aishwarya is the entire, everything is, he is pervading, his effulgence is everywhere. He controls everything without controlling anything. Like in Ishavasya Upanishad says that he moves everywhere without moving. He takes everything without taking. He expresses everywhere without expressing. For an unprepared mind, these terms will be very confusing. So the third one was Aishwarya, then fourth is Yasha or glory. He is the glorious one. His fame is far and wide. Everyone knows him. Shri or affluence. Shri is the wealth. Shri is the siddhis. Shri is the abilities, capabilities. Nothing is, here the word, affluence is all the riches, and riches are both physical and subtle, and that is bharpur in him. And then vairagya or dispassion. In spite of having all this, he is unattached to them. As well as the divine potencies known by the name. So ये हो गया क्या? धर्म, ज्ञान, ऐश्वर्य, यश, श्री and vairagya. अच्छा, यहाँ पे ये 6 दिए हैं. And then as well as by the divine potencies known by the names Vimala, Utkarshini, Jnana, Kriya, Yoga, Prithvi, Satya, Ishana and Anugraha is spoken of as the lotus spread on this seat. So these are the various, just like we have main Puranas and Upapuranas, similarly we have the main qualities and the sub-qualities. And in this way, he wields in the 14th verse, Ojasaho balayutam mukhya tattvam gadam dadhat apam tattvam daravaram tejas tattvam sudarshanam. In the 14th verse, he says, 14th and 15th, okay. 15th also, Nabho nibham nabhastattvam asim charmatamo mayam kalarupam dhanushangam tatha karma maye shudhim. He says, he wields prana or the vital air, the foremost of the 5 airs existing in the body under the names of prana, apan, vyan, udan and saman, accompanied by organic, mental and bodily strength in the form of the mace bearing the name of Kumodaki. Kumodaki is if you take the Lord with the 4 arms, he is holding it in this arm, the bottom right hand. Kaumodaki, here it says, Kaumodaki. The principle of water in the form of an excellent conch, Panchajanya by name. Panchajanya is held in this hand, top, left hand top. Then, as the discus Sudarshana, the principle of fire, as the discus Sudarshana, that is in the right hand top, the principle of either as a sword clear as sky, a shield consisting of tamas, the principle of inertia and ignorance, a bow made of horns as representing kala, the time spirit, and a quiver consisting of karma, the principle of activity. And in this way, the various accompaniments of the Lord, they are mentioned. Then in the 16th verse, Indriyani sharanahuhu akutirasya sandhanam tanmatranyasya mudrayartha kriyatmatam. It says, knowing persons declare the 10 cosmic indriyas as the 5 senses of perception and the 5 organs of action to be his shafts, the cosmic mind characterized by the power of action to be his chariot, and the 5 tanmatras, the subtle elements, to be the exterior of the chariot, and he exhibits his serviceability to his devotees in the shape of conferring boons on as assuring protection to them through mudras, position of hands such as Vara and Abhaya. The spot where the deity is worshipped should be visualized as the orb of the sun. The ceremony of initiation by the Guru into a certain mantra sacred text should be contemplated as the act of self consecration which makes one eligible for the worship of a particular deity, and the worship of the Lord should be conceived as the eradication of all one's sin. These last 2 points, 17th verse and the 16th verse, we'll look at it in our next class. I think it's getting tiring for all of you have been sitting since 4:30. We'll conclude here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.